Hi, I'm Umbreon Libris, and this is my Pokémon Violet Adventure Journal. On day 17, I arrived in Alfornada, but I made my way there very quickly, and I didn't stick around because I was gonna meet with a friend for a Union Circle. While I waited for him to be ready, I jumped back to the academy and took on a couple of biology classes. Jacques was teaching us about evolution, and I got excited when he started talking about Primeape because I've been trying to evolve my Primeape for days now. Actually, probably over a week. But he gets interrupted by the school bell and doesn't finish his sentence. Alright, screw you, Jacques. Good thing Wispy is ready now. So Wispy and I set off. We went to a couple of outbreaks, and while doing a watch roll outbreak, I realized my Garganacl was no longer with me, and it's running away! Pyrite, where are you going? Come back here! I managed to convince him to come back, and I actually renamed Pyrite to Ziggurat. I think it's a more fitting name for Garganacl. Also, Ziggurat is just a really cool word. We stopped for a picnic, hoping to encourage Punk and Ditto to get frisky. Indigo's been regretting her choice of Quaxley for her starter, and she wants to swap it for a Sprigatito. Quaquaval's dancing is just too obnoxious, and I can absolutely understand that. It is the one thing that kind of ruins the Pokemon for me too. To try to get Punk and Ditto in the mood, I gave them baths, and even Wispy got in on the fun. But unfortunately none of it worked, and by the time Indigo got home and wanted to join us, we were empty-handed. No eggs. But the three of us set off. Indigo and Wispy were hoping to find Dittos, and I wanted to evolve my Primeape. I still don't know how, but I knew what kind of thing to do, so we just kept fisting.
Phrasing?
And eventually, Primeape had rage-fisted enough that finally it did evolve into Annihilape. Fantastic name, by the way. And a pretty good Pokemon design, too. I feel like it improves Primeape really nicely. When we were doing our last picnic for the day, I finally thought to make a sandwich with egg power. And that finally pushed Punk and Ditto to get it on and produce an egg, which I traded to Indigo. Now I gotta get a Ditto on my second game so that I can also produce eggs of Fuecoco. Then on day 18, I was back to the main objective. I returned to Alfornada and started exploring the area around it more thoroughly. And this whole area is so far my favorite landscape in Paldea. Between the stone ramp, the enormous Alfornada cavern, and what looks like an old volcano crater with a giant waterfall coming out of it, I just really love this area. But although I found stakes and Gimmighoul and a bunch of items in this area, it was overall fairly uneventful exploration. In Alfornada itself, the only real point of interest is the gym, but the observatory with the Gen 1 Pokemon tiles, amazing. I loved it. It's nice seeing that they haven't forgotten their roots in pixel art. Judging by the wild Pokemon in the area, I knew that Alfornada Gym was going to have higher level Pokemon than where I'm at. So before going into the gym test, I made sure to prepare my team with all of my Ghost and Dark types. Or at least all the ones that have a chance of being on the final team. I brought Punk, Bot, Powerpuff, and even Wild despite the fighting type, just to make sure that whatever the gym leader would throw at me, I'd have something. In the gym test, the two battles that we had proved that I made the right assumption about the levels. But the gym test itself was essentially a rhythm game, but so slow. Like, slow enough that I often thought that I'd missed the prompt for the next one, but no, actually we were still in the previous one. I thought it was going to get faster and more challenging in the second part, but no, it was all the same. And unfortunately, the gym battle was also not that challenging. The levels were higher than mine, but with the type advantage and strong super effective attacks on my side, I defeated all of Tulip's Pokemon with no more than 3 hits each. She was able to take out Powerpuff, but Powerpuff was also the only Pokemon that took any damage. But with my 6th gym badge in hand, I decided to head back to the academy and do some more classes. Last time I was here, I only had time for the biology classes, so today I started with history. And in History 4, Ryfort started telling a very interesting story. She didn't finish it, which seemed kinda scummy, but I went to find her in the library and she told me the rest of it. It was the story of 4 treasures that turned out to be Pokemon: the vessel, the sword, the set of tablets, and the set of beads. The set of tablets was the only one that I'd heard of before. I'm kind of wondering if the other ones might be Pokemon that I already know, like the vessel could be like Hoopa's vessel, for example, or even Spiritomb. The sword could be Keldeo, but I'm more inclined to think that these are all new Pokemon. But it made me realize that I had noticed already that the stakes that I've been pulling out of the ground, they have different colors. The first ones that I were finding were purple, and the newer ones that I'm finding now are either red or yellow, depending, I think, on where I find them, depending on the area of Paldea. And I know that the sealed chamber that I found way at the start was purple. It specifically mentioned the tablets too, so I'm guessing that there are similar sealed chambers elsewhere in Paldea that I just haven't found yet, that correspond to the other colors of stakes and therefore also the other treasures. I feel like I've been pretty thorough with my exploration so far, so it's a little surprising that I wouldn't have come across even one of these other ones, but I think that's what it has to be. So next, I intend to do the rest of the classes that I have access to right now, and then start heading north for the last 2 gym badges and the last 2 star bases. You can probably get through a good chunk of that over the weekend. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next chapter.